Hey guys, it's Amanda, also known as Amateurs, and today we're doing something a little bit different. I have been requested to do a couple of videos, mental health related, and this one is really tough for me to do, maintaining friendships with mental illness. So I have a whole bunch of notes written down, front and back. Whoop, that's just a letter. Front and back. So I'm going to be reading off of my notes because I had to research this subject because for those who are new and who do not know, I am schizoaffective with depressed type with borderline personality disorder. And because of my borderline disorder, I had a lot of splitting incidents where I stopped being friends with a lot of friends because of social awkwardness or jealousy or something along those lines. So it was really hard for me to keep friends back then. If it wasn't me, it was them. They didn't want to be friends with me anymore because they thought that I was too much to handle. So this video, I had to research how to keep friends because a good majority of my friends, like 95% of my friends, stopped being friends with me. So it was really hard for me to research this video. So I'm going to be looking down a lot at notes, reading them off to you, and I will be telling you my experiences that I have experienced going through life and losing friends and what ones I did keep. I did keep some friends. I kept like 1, 2 that are long distance friends that I've kept for a long time and that have not left me. They've supported me through everything and everything like that. And I owe them a lot because of it. So let's get started in this video before I start rambling about something completely different, because that's something else I tend to do. This video will contain 2 sides of the story. So the one side with mental illness and the other side without mental illness. So if you like to listen to both sides, keep on watching. If not, the other half of this video will be on the side of if you don't have mental illness but your friend has a mental illness, this is how you can help them or stay friends with them, etc. So the first part is if you have mental illness, how to maintain friendship thus wise. Self-awareness and preventative knowledge. Know and understand your diagnosis. Try to realize your specific symptoms, triggers, and warning signs, such as what may make you anxious. Examples: when you see your friends with another close friend. If you are aware of your triggers, you can evade miscommunication or conflict. Even if you do slip, you can apologize and explain and learn from it. That was a big thing for me. I had a serious jealousy problem when it came to my mental illness, my borderline personality disorder. If my friends started hanging out with other friends, I would become a jealous hag. I just became very mean, very vengeful. I sought out to get vengeance. And it was just not a good thing to do. I couldn't control it. I became a very angry person. As a matter of fact, it was a big time in my life back in 8th grade, middle school, when something like that happened, and it really messed up my life. Like, I almost got sent to jail because of it. I almost got into a lot of physical fights because of it. And maybe one day I'll talk to you guys about it, what happened, how it happened. But it was a big deal in my life that really changed the outcome of what I thought was friendship and how close I got to people. But because of my jealousy, a lot of bad things happened during that year, and I lost 3 friends in a group. So it was not lovely. Communicate your needs. If you decide whether your friends are trustworthy, compassionate, and reliable, you can choose to discuss your mental illness to prevent future uncomfortabilities. Example: if you have a social anxiety and your friend wants you to meet another friend, this may make you uncomfortable and anxious. Discuss with them about your discomfort. Maybe you two can find a simple way around it so you can still meet them in a more comfortable scenario. Now, I didn't really suffer from anxiety up until recently, and I never really had a problem with anxiety when it came to meeting new people. I was always a social butterfly. But I know that a lot of people who follow my channel have social anxiety, and I can't imagine what they must go through when they're meeting new people, especially in a big, like, party-like environment. That must be very stressful and scary. So if your friend wants you to meet new people, maybe you can talk to them about, hey, is there a way I can meet them outside of this type of scenario so that I can get to know them, feel comfortable around them, and then maybe one day I can enter that party-like scenario where I can know people who are there and be able to enjoy the party along with you guys if I know more people there. But I know that a lot of times maybe the party scenario will never happen, and you just want to meet more people in general, so you just want to not single them out, that'd be the wrong way of putting it, but maybe you just want to say, hey, maybe you and him and I can hang out, get to know each other, play some video games or some board games, or tell stories, and get to know one another that way first so that I can get comfortable with them before we enter a different scenario where I might be uncomfortable. Oh, by the way, before I continue, I got this information from nami.org. I will try to remember to put the link down below so you can read the information they have on there. And they have a lot of other mental illness related subjects on there as well that you could probably go read if you like to. So try out that website. Support and help one another. Helping others is proven to make people happy and can help reduce symptoms. If your friend has their own diagnosis, you can come up with coping mechanisms together, attend a support group together, or seek therapy with one another. However, realize your friend isn't your therapist. This is very true. A lot of people have a tendency of accidentally relying on their friend too much to the point where they kind of become their therapist and it becomes too much for that friend to handle. That's probably what happened to me a couple of times. No, it probably happened to me one time that I majorly can say, yeah, that's happened to me. I had a friend who, I'm not going to tell you their name. I relied on them too much with my diagnosis of schizoaffective disorder with depressed type with borderline personality disorder. And I think she just became overwhelmed with it and she couldn't handle it anymore, so she just stopped talking to me, stopped coming over, stopped communicating completely. And I asked her what was wrong, and she said it was her, that, you know, it was on her that she stopped talking to me and stuff like that. And in reality, she never gave me a real reason, so I just assumed that it was because of me, that I relied on her too much and it became too much for her to handle, that she just fled. She ran away. She couldn't handle it anymore, which I understood because she had her own issues she was dealing with at the time that were personal, and I was there for her, and I just think she couldn't handle it anymore. So just remember to not treat your friend like a therapist. They're there for you, but doesn't mean that they're going to be a doctor for you. Should you tell your friends about your condition? I get this question a lot. Not like a lot enough where I should be putting it in a question and answer video. I really should, because I do get it quite a bit. But should you tell your friends or family or so on about your condition? It's up to you to decide. You can tell close friends and wait on others. Be comfortable and understand that everyone will understand what you have. Some may reject you and it will hurt. But then you can move on and find friends that will be happy to be there for you. Don't be frustrated and give up if they didn't understand right away. Nowadays, mental illness is becoming, I wouldn't say popular, but it's becoming less stigma. A lot of people are understanding it, are having problems with it, like depression and anxiety, which are the two biggest ones that everyone gets. But they're starting to understand mental illness a little bit better, which is great because it's allowing people who have serious mental disorders, such as myself, to come out and say, this is what I have, and not be afraid to say anything about it. I'm not afraid of saying anything about it, at least. I know that a lot of people are uncomfortable with it because they're unsure how other people may respond to them coming out about it. But just understand that some people might not understand. They may never understand. And they may still be a good friend to you otherwise, and you can keep them at an arm's distance away and be like, okay, well, you're still a good friend. I'm not going to punish you because you don't understand my disorder. I'm just going to keep you at a distance, talk to you about other things like career or subjects that we enjoy together or something like along those lines, but I'm not going to tell you about personal issues that I have because you wouldn't understand and you might not be comfortable with that subject. And there'll be people who do understand or try to understand or are trying to be there for you regardless of your diagnosis. And then those people you can come a little bit closer to and be like, hey, this is my problem. I have this issue, and this issue. But remember, don't treat them like a therapist. They're not a therapist. They're there for you, but they're not going to be giving you the advice that you need to help figure out your problems or your diagnosis or the such. They won't be the ones giving you your pills and telling you which direction might be best to go in. Even therapists don't always do that either. They just tell you or give you some advice or ask you, what do you think you should do and stuff like that, and they tend to lead you in the right direction instead of just a direct direction, if you get what I'm saying. No matter what, you should be a good friend. To have a good friend, you will need to be a good friend. Listen to them and be there for them as they would for you. A lot of these notes I should be able to read just to remember off the top of my head, but I don't. I have horrible memory for any of you who do not know. That's why I have to look down at notes. My memory is just crap. But yes, it's true. To have a good friend, you should be a good friend, and friends like to listen to one another. Everyone likes to talk about themselves in some way or form, so try to listen to them as well as they would have listened to you. So even if your friend does not have a diagnosis and they still are going through problems, still try to be there for them, because if they're there for you and listen to your problems, your diagnosis, your disorders, your illness, the such, then you should be there for them just as much, because it's not just a one-way street. You have to listen to one another. Making friends isn't easy, especially if you have a disorder that keeps you from getting close or being social. But what friends you have, try to keep if they are there for you. Friends stave off isolation. They can keep you safe and they can give you perspective in situations. Keep the friends that you do have. And those who treat you badly, just walk away, because you don't need those type of friends in your life. And that goes for anyone, whether you have a disorder or not disorder. If you have friends that treat you badly, you should just walk away in life. You don't need that kind of behavior around you. It's not good for you in any way, form. It can lead you to having a disorder in the future, like anxiety or trust issues or depression. And you just do not need that. So this leads to our second part of the video, with a person who does not have a disorder being friends with a person who does have a disorder. Now, I can't give much examples because I am the one who has a disorder, but I will try my best to give examples if I have any to give. To be a good friend to a person with mental illness. Research. Try to learn about the disorder they have so you may be knowledgeable on what they are experiencing, especially on triggers, so you can avoid them from occurring or learn how to go about them. That is, an understatement. My husband, when we first got together, never researched any of my disorders. He didn't try to learn, and I would have to basically read to him all the things I would find about my disorders in order for him to even start learning about them. And it's not because he just didn't care, it's just he just didn't try. And I think it's because he has this thing about him where he doesn't like to read. So he just doesn't try researching things that he's interested in or not interested in, and he just doesn't try to learn. It's just something that he is about. He doesn't try to learn. But it's good that you do try to learn, because you could avoid situations that are easy to avoid, such as my friends. If my friends had learned about borderline personality disorder, maybe when they noticed my symptoms of jealousy kicking in, they could have reassured me, saying, hey, it's okay, I'm still friends with you too, I'm just hanging out with them for a couple of days because I want to hang out with them. Maybe that would have reassured me and comforted me and saying, okay, then I'm not alone, there's nothing to be scared of, they're not leaving me, because that's the stuff that I used to think. And I know for sure that they're still going to be there for me. They're still going to be my friend. And she was my best friend at the time. So it was like, she was like my sister. I would have known that she would have not left me and I wasn't just being put to the side and ignored. Because that's what I used to think. But if she had learned that, back then we didn't know that I had this issue. Things could have been cleared up a little bit better. Then again, back then we were both young. We were, like I said, in 8th grade middle school. I did not know I had these issues. I didn't understand what splitting was. And now that I do know, I understand what I had done, why I had done it, how I could have avoided it, and all of that stuff. But I didn't. And no one knew what was going on through my head. Not even the school counselor, who I had to go to for a couple of times. Avoid negative confrontations. Avoid showing anger or frustration when you notice they are upset or in an episode. This will have them put a wall up and keep them from talking and letting out their emotions. Don't yell at them if they relapse or argue with you. Try to keep calm and collected. Don't threaten to send them away to a hospital. No one wants to have an episode. That couldn't be more true. My husband, like I said, didn't try to learn about my disorders. Because of it, he went at it very terribly. He would often argue back with my borderline disorder. He would often scream at me when I would argue back or have a relapse and I couldn't control it. And a lot of that just made me not want to talk to him about my issues. It made me uncomfortable, it made me wall up, it made me feel like I was in a cage. Now, he didn't know that that was what was going on. I mean, he didn't understand how to stop it. He didn't understand how to go about it. He didn't understand any of that stuff, and now he does know. So whenever I do have a relapse, since I'm on the proper medications now, he knows not to argue back, not to scream at me, not to yell at me, just not to all-out fight back no matter what kind of fight he was trying to do, because he was realizing like, oh wait, this isn't her at the moment, she's relapsing for some reason. I just gotta remain calm and collected and just wait it out, because borderline personality disorder is really hard to talk to. It's really hard to communicate with in any way, so you just gotta kind of let it roll itself out of the flames sort of situation. Show them that you care. Be there for them and listen to their problems as you would with any other friend. It's easy to feel broken and alone with disorders. Showing you care is important. Call or text them and ask how they are. I have one friend that lives in New Jersey. She moved up in New Jersey when I was in 7th grade in middle school. She's my all-time best friend. I've had her the longest. She's stayed with me the longest. She's dealt with my problems the longest. And though she moved away, she still kept on texting me, asking me how I was, how my diagnosis is, if I've been on the proper medications, how my medications are going, if I have any side effects. She just asks random questions to keep me talking so that she can know that I'm doing okay and that she knows what's going on with me. That's showing that you care. Now, you don't have to go that far of a distance. You don't have to ask, like, do you have any side effects? You don't have to ask those type of questions. She just does so I can continue communicating with her so she understands what's going on, what has gone on with my disorders. She's a great friend. And although we never see each other anymore because I live in Georgia and she lives in New Jersey, she's just still a great friend. She still communicates with me. And it's out of the blue she does it too. So whenever it happens, it makes my heart like explode with happiness because I'm like, oh my god, I haven't heard from you in like a couple of months, but it's nice to know that you're still trying to talk to me. You haven't left me. Yay! Don't tell them it could be worse. Oh, I get this a lot, especially back in the first time Zach and I started getting together. He would say this a lot to me, and it did not make things better. Oftentimes, this will make it worse. All that matters to them at the moment is that they are feeling bad. Sorry for my bad language. Oftentimes, this will make it worse. All that matters to them at the moment is that they are feeling bad. This might make them feel guilty about talking about their illness. Now, I don't generally feel guilty about talking about my illness because I tend to be a very selfish person about that. Like, I have no problem talking about my illness, no problem at all. Like, that's why I do these videos. Sorry if you hear chewing in the background, that's my rabbit chewing on his log. But some people might stop talking about the illness if you go saying, well, things could be worse. Like, there are people in poverty in Africa, and there's people who are starving in America. Doing stuff like that isn't going to make them want to talk to you about their issues. it's gonna make them feel guilty or feel worse or feel uncomfortable or just be like, what's the point of talking to you? You're not gonna listen to me. And that's the way they might respond to you if you go on and say stuff like that. Don't compare. Don't compare your problems to theirs. It's not the same unless you have the same disorder. Your experiences are different. Mental illnesses are more extreme. Like, for example, if you're trying to talk to someone who has severe anxiety or social anxiety about how anxiety is and say, oh, I have this same problem as you because I get anxiety before a test, it's not the same. It's more of an extreme level. And when you go on and compare yourself to it's like the last subject, it's going to make it worse or make them uncomfortable and not want to talk to you. And you don't want that to happen. You want them to talk to you. You want them to confront you about certain things and be honest with you and just rely on you in a better light. And you comparing a non so big subject to something that's gigantic isn't going to make them feel any better. It's not going to make them feel like they can come to you. So I wouldn't do that if I were you. And that's it for this notes for maintaining friendships. I hope that I read them out properly. I'm sorry if I stuttered a little bit because I do have a stuttering issue on occasion when I'm reading. So my biggest apologies. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.